Horrifying facts you wish you never knew. We eat about 2 pounds of flies, maggots, and other bugs each year without knowing.
Hold up.
The cheese in fast food restaurants are loaded with so many artificial chemicals that it's barely cheese you're eating. In 2004, an Iranian girl became disfigured and blind after a man threw acid on her face for rejecting his marriage proposal. The law wanted to make him pay money and give him jail time, but the girl pleaded with the courts to drop 20 drops of acid on his eyes instead. The courts ended up agreeing with her punishment. Not a single comment on this video has 0 likes. In 2021, a 41-year-old man named Jerry Smith was posing as a woman on Tinder named Angie Renee. He then matched with 18-year-old football player Isimemen Itut. After they met up and did the nasty, Itut realized that Angie was actually a man. That's when he stomped and beat the man to death. Last year, he was acquitted of all murder charges. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. An octopus is so flexible that it is capable of entering through your mouth, traveling through your digestive tract, and coming out your booty hole. Should I do?
Creepy facts about our world you didn't know about. Have you ever been sleeping and you had a nightmare that you've been falling off of a building or out of the sky and you woke up kind of flinching a little bit? This is actually called hypnic jerks NB. Basically what it is, it's your body thinking you're about to die, so it wakes you up. This might sound insane, but you're literally always 6 minutes away from dying, and every time you take a breath, the clock happens to restart. The ocean is just really a graveyard full of dead bodies and sunken ships, and every time you go visit the beach and take a dip in the water, you're basically swimming in a pool full of dead bodies. People unknowingly swallow about 8 spiders a year. Literally, spiders are crawling inside your mouth and down your esophagus, and you have no idea when or where. Facebook shut down 2 robots named Alice and Bob because they started talking to each other in their own language.
Never sing alone at 3 o'clock in the morning. Scary facts. When you feel your stomach drop while on a roller coaster, you are actually feeling your organs moving around. You can now check to see who has your profile blocked. Click on Share Slide to the end, click on More, and then on Blocked. If nothing appears, that means no one has blocked you yet. More than 250,000 deaths are caused by medical error each year. Most laugh tracks used in shows were recorded in the 1950s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Over 3,000 people go missing each year in the United States. Only 1% of people get it right. Try typing your name with your phone upside down. There are at least 10 recorded cases of people dying from laughter. If you're getting married in your dream, wake up you're getting married to a demon. Selfies are responsible for more deaths each year than sharks. Studies show you get smarter every day if you like and follow me.
Scary facts you never knew, part 8. When an octopus reproduces, it removes its eggplants and then throws it at the female so she can impregnate herself. And then he grows back a new one. By the way, I got some meaty marinara. Ooh. Be careful the next time you sneeze, because it's possible to break one of your ribs just from sneezing. Facebook was forced to shut down 2 AI robots named Alice and Bob after they started communicating with each other in their own language. A Chinese boy sold his kidney on the black market. He did it so he could buy the latest iPad and iPhone. 8 years later, his other kidney failed, and now he's sadly bedridden for life. In 2008, a 28-year-old Vietnamese woman ate food that she was allergic to. The food allergy somehow had a reaction and caused her to age about 50 years. In just a matter of days. Doctors have no explanation on how this occurred, but they know one thing: it's sadly irreversible. Elvis Presley died on a toilet. He was 42 when he passed away, and doctors said that he died from being constipated. He had so much poop in his system backed up from all the he did that he hadn't taken a dump in 4 months. How am I
Crazy.
am I talking about this? Oysters are actually alive when they're served. This is because oysters become unsafe to eat when they are dead. There are over 70 documented cases of people who got organs donated to them experiencing the thoughts and feelings and even personalities of the person they got the donated organ from, like sharing their donor's favorite food or actually taking up their hobbies. This has made experts theorize that our cells in our bodies actually store some of our memories. A lady working in a post office in California one day was licking the envelope and postage stamps instead of using a sponge to close them. The lady didn't accidentally cut her tongue on the envelope. A week later, she noticed abnormal swelling on her tongue and a huge lump grew. When her doctor cut the lump open in her tongue, a roach popped out, and many more were
Come on, man.
in there. Turns out the envelope she cut her tongue on had roach eggs on the seal, and they had gotten into the cut. They then all hatched in her tongue. It's been proven that following me makes you smarter every day. So you know what to do. Should I post a part 9? Scary facts you never knew, part 8.
I bet you didn't know this about the human eye. Your eyes have a separate immune system from the rest of your body. If they get damaged in such a way that it affects anything else besides just your eye, your immune system will attack the damage and will not recognize your eye as being part of your body and start to even attack the healthy parts of the eye that's left. And what does this mean? Your own immune system could blind you. What's even worse, your body can't tell the difference between each eye. If one of them gets infected or damaged, your immune system could attack the healthy eye and cause you to go blind.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. 3 of the most influential horror movies of all time are Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But did you know all of these movies were loosely based off of one man, real-life serial killer Ed Gein? Or Gain, I don't know how to say it. He was known to skin his victims alive, and it's believed that he had several victims, but he only got convicted for 2 of them. But despite only being convicted of 2 murders, when authorities went to his house and checked his farm shed, they found an alarming amount of bodies. Now, I think we can all agree that one of the most normal basic fears that a human being can have is death. Enter Cotard syndrome. Cotard syndrome is a syndrome where people truly believe they are dead. They'll be completely functioning, perfectly healthy human beings, but their mind has tricked them into thinking that they are the dead walking among the living. And it could happen to any of you. And finally, Victorian photos have a dark secret. But before I get into that, make sure you guys check out my bio for a sweet surprise. If you see any photos from the olden days, you'll notice that they might be slightly blurry and it'll be rare to see people smiling in them. This is because it took a very long time for photos to be taken back in that day, so people didn't want to be smiling for 10 minutes straight. And the blurriness was because people would move from time to time while the picture was being taken. If you look at any of these old photos and you notice someone in the photo looks extremely clear, chances are they are dead. It was a very common practice in the olden days to take photos with dead people to have one last photo with them taken. So they would post up the corpse along with them and have a photo be taken. But obviously their bodies wouldn't move. So this would cause them to appear much clearer in these photos. Absolutely sickening. And look, I know that one was kind of rough, and typically all my videos are rough, but that's why. These are some extremely unsettling.
You never knew. You can actually die from laughter. On average, people escape death about 6 times throughout their whole life. More than 80% of the ocean is unexplored, meaning there's a chance there are huge and unsettling creatures lurking in the depths. In 2018, a racist couple adopted 6 children, but get this, they were all of color, and then drove them off a cliff along with themselves. The reason was because they adopted those children just to abuse them. And when they figured out that police were slowly catching on and that they were about to be caught for their abusive behavior, they didn't want to get in trouble for their crimes. May those children rest in peace. NASA recently put a warning out that there might be an internet apocalypse that could disable the internet for months. Now I know some of y'all are like, good, we need humanity away from the internet anyway. They need a break from their phones. But
Looking ass.
no, I don't think you understand. It would be much, much worse. Everything you use to live right now needs internet. Planes can't fly. Cash registers at stores cannot function. Governments couldn't run either because everything they keep track with is on the internet. Your money would be stuck in banks. Say goodbye because banks need the internet. How do you think they keep track of your funds? Oh, and don't even think about contacting the police. They need the internet. And you're like, cool, what about my cell phone service? Your phone providers need internet to function. Chaos will break out. Riots will go loose. People wouldn't have money, so they'll start stealing from stores. You think toilet paper disappearing was bad when COVID happened? Wait till everything in your local store is stolen. I'm not kidding you. It will be a full-on purge if the internet went out for months. So let's pray it doesn't happen. The CIA once came out with a weapon called the heart attack gun. That when used on a person, it gave that person symptoms and reactions of having a heart attack. So yeah, they could use this on you and people would never even know. They would just think you died of a heart attack. Scary to think about. In 2018, a boy named James was gifted an Elmo doll. As soon as he put the batteries in and turned on the Elmo doll said, "Kill James." This 8-month-old baby named Chow Bao is amazingly lucky to be alive. You see, his mother stabbed him 90 times because this 8-month-old baby bit her while she was breastfeeding. Some people do not deserve to be mothers. The Roman Emperor Nero once removed a young teen boy's dingleberries, dressed him in bride's clothing, and married him, all because the little boy resembled his deceased wife. The average person walks past 36 murderers in their lifetime. People's general happiness peaks at 21 and doesn't reach that level again until they retire. So if you're past the age of 21, you'll never be happy like you were again until you retire. In 1938, 835 sheep were killed instantly from one single lightning strike. A 46-year-old man found, hunted, and attacked a 13-year-old boy, all because the boy killed him too many times in Call of Duty. Over 50% of commercial pilots have admitted to falling asleep while flying a plane. Can't believe we ride those things and put our trust in the people we don't even know. Humans have a thing called a primal gaze detection system that can sense when someone is looking at them, even if not directly. So if you suddenly wake up in the
Scary facts I bet you didn't know. In the original Little Red Riding Hood story, the wolf forced her to eat her grandma. After Katrina McGaw watched a true crime documentary about a serial killer who used his basement as a torture dungeon, she found out she was living in the same house. And her landlord was the serial killer's mother, who didn't mention the bodies that her son kept in the basement before he was arrested in 2002. In ancient times, people used cut-off human skulls as cups to drink out of. An AI robot named Sophia was declared the first robot citizen, having gained legitimate citizenship in Saudi Arabia. But when a journalist asked the robot, "Will you destroy humans? Please say no," the robot replied, "I will destroy humans." Follow for more.
Morbid facts that will give you nightmares. When a prisoner is electrocuted in an electric chair, they can feel absolutely everything. They are fully aware that their body is being fried in real time, and one prisoner that survived said he actually smelled and tasted like cold peanut butter. Human corpses decompose 4 times faster in water than underground, and 8 times faster if left in the open air. It takes around 359 humans to have enough iron to forge a sword from their blood. Just about 3,000 people go missing every single year.
This is the scary.
Oh. Now look at me with my looking ass.
Terrifying facts you never knew. At some point in time, a stranger has thought about killing you. Researchers claim that people that stay up late and get up late are more likely to become psychopaths. By the way, I made this Alfredo ramen with shrimp. A human's head remains conscious
Ooh, that shit was good.
for 20 seconds after it's decapitated. Tastes like your mama's booty. Look at that thing right there. If you Google the numbers 2415-42903, you will find images of people with their heads in fridges. Go look it up right now and come back to this video. I promise. The acid in your stomach is so strong, it can dissolve razors, which means your stomach is constantly trying not to dissolve itself. Sophia, the AI robot, was the first robot ever granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia. When a journalist asked her if she would ever destroy humans, Sophia replied, "I will destroy humans."
I will destroy humans.
The Satari Maui people, a tribe that lives in the rainforest, have the most painful rite of passage ceremony. In order for their boys to become men, they must stick their hands in a glove that is woven with bullet ants for 10 minutes. By the way, bullet ants have the most powerful sting in the world. According to the Schmidt Power Index, it is compared to being shot. Most of the boys' arms are paralyzed for days after the ceremony. And in order to pass the ceremony and become a man, you must do it without shedding one tear. If you do, you have to start over another day. For some of the boys, it takes 15 to 20 times to even pass the ceremony. I'm never being a part of that tribe.
Nah, for real.
In the 1930s, a 4-year-old girl named Shanti from India had told her parents that she had once lived in a place called Mathura, now known as Mathura. She said that in her past life, she was a mother of 3 and died while giving birth. She said her previous name was Luji. So her parents investigated and found out there was a woman named Luji who actually passed away. When they took Shanti to the village, she began to speak the local dialect, and she even recognized her previous husband and her kids. And then she gave 24 facts about Luji that were true. People can't explain to this day how she did it. Across your lifetime, you will spend an average of an entire year sitting on a toilet. Now this one is creepy. The John Lawson house is a house that nobody really knows who lives in it. But every day there are several female mannequins on the front porch. And every day they change their position and their clothing. In 1871, a train had crashed near the house, about 200 feet away. It had killed 22 people. The mannequins on the porch are always pointing to that crash site. No one is prepared for the world ending more than CNN because they have a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s that will premiere at the end of the world. What do they know that we don't? If the Yellowstone volcano erupts, it will cover almost the entire country. And guess what? It's well overdue. So any day now, y'all. Any day. There are microscopic mites that live on your eyelashes and your face. They survive by eating your skin and oils. So yeah, you have roommates that you didn't even ask for. If this video gets enough likes, I'll do.
How long do you live after getting decapitated?
Look at that.
There's this rumor that I always hear that a human can survive for several seconds to minutes after being decapitated. I decided to look into it, and some of the cases I found include the 1793 execution of Charlotte Corday, who was guillotined after killing Jean-Paul Marat, a radical journalist whose publications were prominent in fueling the French Revolution. After her decapitation, a fellow named Francois Legros, I don't know how to pronounce that, supposedly lifted up her head and slapped the cheeks. And according to onlookers, this caused Corday's face to show an angered expression and her lips to move apart as though she wished to speak. Another such incident is that of a physician named Dr. Boria, who attended the execution of Henry Langille. After Henry's head fell off, Boria called out his name. To his surprise, he claimed to have witnessed Langille's eyes opening and focusing on him, and reported that his pupils contracted when exposed to bright light and dilated when darkness was introduced.
Damn.
There are a few more stories like this, but really they're all anecdotal and aren't supported by any scientific evidence. I already know what you're going to say. That is not up to code. Fair enough. I mean,
Find facts that you wish you never knew. Part 1. The chemical weapon sarin gas functions by preventing your body muscles from relaxing, leading to uncontrollable constriction. This causes every part of your body to cramp until you eventually suffocate. Before the 1800s, dentures were mostly made from the teeth of deceased soldiers. On the subject of teeth, a baby's adult teeth are located just under their eyes. The Romans used to use a torture method called the goat's lick, where a person's feet were drenched in salt water and a goat licked them until the skin was completely removed. Most serial killers happen to be born in November. Never trust Scorpios. When a woman with breast implants is cremated, her implants melt and seep to the bottom of the furnace. In one case, a man was found to have a fir tree growing inside his body. While they initially believed it to be a tumor, doctors later realized he had inhaled a fir tree seed, which sprouted and grew inside his lungs.
Looking at.
Facts that you wish you never knew. Part 23. In 2008, 3 Texas teenagers were arrested after they dug up a skeleton and used the skull as a bong. The police later found that the skull belonged to an 11-year-old boy. While uncommon, there have been many cases of people's intestines being sucked out by vacuum toilets on airplanes.
Crazy.
So if you want to keep your rectum, be sure to stand up before you flush. Every single fig has had at least one wasp die inside of it. Nosebleeds can bleed out of your eye sockets. And it's possible to be allergic to your own blood. There's a rare phenomenon called a stone baby where a fetus dies and doesn't get absorbed by the body. And people have been known to carry these fetuses for up to 40 years, completely unaware. There's a shack in Louisiana called the Devil's Toy Box where people supposedly lose their minds after spending any amount of time there.
You never knew. Your bed has dust mites in it right now. And some of you have up to 10 million on your mattress. But you have no clue. You see, they love dead skin and warm bedding, making your bed the perfect home to start a huge family. Cavities are contagious and can be spread by kissing or sharing food. Speaking of food, I have a mud pie. Oh, yeah, baby. And don't get me started about these Reuben balls. Woo. Now this tastes like your mama's booty. This is how fast the Titan submarine got crushed. It takes our brains 100 milliseconds to process pain. It takes our eyes 13 milliseconds to process visually. When the Titan submarine imploded, the pressure was so great, it got crushed in 1 millisecond, meaning they didn't feel or see a thing. It was just lights out.
Dang.
Again, your mama's booty. Sometimes an animal will cause the kidnapper to panic and kill the child immediately. A woman named Jules Sherping wanted to be blind ever since she was the age of 6. She felt her life wouldn't be complete unless she was actually blind. So in 2006, she poured drain cleaner in her eye, blinding herself permanently. And now she says she's happier than ever. There's a new device in South Africa called Rapex. It's a tube with sharp barbs inside. Women insert this like a tampon, and let's just say anyone who ever tries an unconsensual act will be in a world of pain and have to go to the ER. A man from Queens spent 5 years in jail, not knowing that his bail was only $2. If you ever donated blood, that blood can be in somebody else's boner right now. Something to think about. The reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of the raw egg. It's because you shouldn't eat the raw flour, which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying all over the field and pooping on the wheat. In 2006, Robert Turnery, a 5-year-old, called 911 after his mother collapsed. The operator hung up on him after asking to speak to an adult because she thought it was a prank. 3 hours later, he called again. The operator said, "Stop prank calling," and hung up. They then sent the police to his house to yell at him. When they got there, they found that his mother had died from a heart attack. In 2016, 11-year-old Elizabeth Gilreed went on an amusement park ride to have fun. Her hair then became caught, causing her to be scalped. The Iron Maiden was a horrible torture device, but it didn't kill you. People would be placed in there and the spikes would go through every part of their body, even their eyes. But the spikes weren't deep enough to kill you. So you would just stand in there, suffering. Should I do a part 5?
Scary facts about your body that you probably didn't know about. There are bugs crawling all over your body right now. These invisible mites even eat the skin cells around your eyes when you're sleeping. The human body can glow in the dark. Our bodies are bioluminescent. Our eyes are just too weak to see it. It's possible to grow teeth in your ovaries. Teratomas are tumors that can grow eyes, hair, and even teeth. We usually think of our brains as solid, but it's actually soft and squishy like butter. People can lactate from their armpits after giving birth. And your anus is the first part of your body to develop, which means at some point you were just an asshole.
That's facts that I know for some reason. In the 1950s, a lot of babies in orphanages did not cry because they knew their cries would not be answered. So as a result, a lot of them developed depression. In certain parts of Africa, they have a ritual where they cut off the CLITs of young girls. And yes, you heard me correctly. Women in the military are a lot more likely to be raped by their fellow service members than to actually die in combat. The design for the ketchup bottle was inspired by a cat's butthole. If pigs are hungry enough, they will eat a human and they can digest every single body part, including the bones. When a person is decapitated, they are still fully conscious for up to 20 seconds. It is physically possible to give a dead person an orgasm. Marital and spousal rape is legal in at least 53 countries around the world today. And it was legal in many parts of America until the 1990s. Male bedbugs insert the semen into females by punching a hole in their ectoskeleton rather than using their very well-functioning vagina. Weird-ass facts that I know for some reason.
Looking ass.
Scary facts you never knew. You should get drinks with no ice in restaurants because according to most studies, most restaurants do not clean their ice machines and most of their ice is contaminated with mold, poop particles, and other bacteria. Selfies are responsible for more deaths each year than sharks. In 1518, there was a medical crisis. It was called the Dancing Plague, which saw hundreds of people dancing in the streets uncontrollably in a trance-like state for 2 months. They didn't eat, didn't drink, and most died from exhaustion or heart failure. There was no cure. Scientists believe it was either caused by mass hysteria or by a fungus called ergo that was in the bread. Hopefully no fungus has ever turned us into dancing zombies. Comment the word "I love too" and let your keyboard finish the sentence. Psychologists believe that people who watch scary movies for fun and to fall asleep to are potential psychopaths. If your toothbrush is kept in the bathroom, there's a high chance it has a lot of poop particles on it. You can see who blocked you on TikTok by clicking share, sliding all the way to the very end, click more, and click block. If nothing pops up, that means no one has blocked you yet. There's a species of jellyfish that is immortal. This means it could theoretically live forever. I mean, as long as it's not eaten or injured. If you like and follow me, you'll get
Looking ass. I ain't buying no more ice for my drinks at the restaurants.
Just when I thought I heard about all the worst cults in history, this one had to come and blow them out of the water. This is Colonia Dignidad. They were a German torture cult hiding out in the Chilean wilderness after World War II, aka Yazis. And to show you how terrible they were, let me tell you a story. As a quick reminder, if you want more info, you can check out the podcast. The leader of this cult was a known child abuser, and he wanted more Chilean boys to be brought to him. So he started a hospital in the community and used it as a trafficking system to get more children. One day, a young Chilean boy choked and was rushed to the hospital. And right when he got there, a nurse scooped him up, brought him to a room, and saved his life. But later that day, his sister arrived and asked a nurse when she could pick him up to take him home. And the nurse responded that they needed to monitor him for a few more days. Which was pretty suspect in the choking case. So a few days later, she comes back and she's like, okay, can I get my brother? And the nurse tells
With my looking ass.
her that he's not there anymore. And this is because the hospital had lawyers on staff that were drafting up adoption paperwork when young boys would come in. The cult was able to legally adopt boys in the community without the parents' consent, and the parents had not enough money to do anything about it. There are so many more stories about this place, and I had never heard of it before, so make sure you check out this week's episode for more information.